Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to invite a gentleman who is going to give us a reason to imagine. And I'm sure we already know who is going to give us a reason to imagine that CMOs are maybe not endangered species, but are they? Are they not? So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite on the stage a gentleman called Njoroge, who has vowed never to go back to Kenya for obvious reasons. He finds Uganda very entertaining. He finds us very amazing. That Njoroge for you.
If you have been a desire, this year might be your year. See, I wanted to inspire.
Okay, come on now, introduce yourself. Since you didn't allow me to introduce you.
Finish.
I am done. Kamal works for Airtel. They just launched something called 5G or something. But one thing I know for sure is that they want to give us a reason to keep imagining our lives, to give us a future and all that. But if you're looking for Kamau over the weekend, please look around, outside Kampala at least, in the outskirts. He loves, going. He can ride, he can go out with the children. He has 3 boys and married to 1 wife, I want to imagine. And he enjoys traveling, really traveling so much. One of his sons is called Champion, the other is called Prince, and another one is called President. Come out. And you're the king.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jackie. And good evening, everyone. My name is Njoroge, and then my parents decided to join the sect. So they gave me an English name, so the name is Henry. So any combination of those works. In the office, they call me Henry Njoroge. At home, they call me Njoroge or Daddy or Fafa, one of those. I represent a company which gives you a reason to imagine, which is Airtel Uganda. And today, because we are having a candy talk, I asked for a bar stool, because there's no place where you need to have a candy talk like a place of happiness. And I think UBL can actually attest to this. So let me first of all pay my bills. I said I work for Airtel. I'm a chief marketing officer for Airtel Uganda. Have been there for 2.5 years. At Airtel Uganda or Airtel Africa, we give you a reason to imagine. And how do we do that? We tell you, do not restrict your imagination. We can connect you to your people, your friends, your family, entertainment, information, and anything you want, wherever there is in the world. And on top of that, we make you're able to take advantage of those opportunities using our mobile money platform, which is Airtel Money. So not only, so you imagine, you get the information, you actually exploit it. That's what we do. And one of the things we stand for is that there's no discrimination for us. We give anyone, everyone, wherever you are in Uganda, whether you're in Naguru or whether you're in, which is the most remotest place I know. Those places, at Jumani, we still have that 4G network. That's why we blanket it. Even why this photo? And I would like you to look at this. This photo, it was my farewell gift when I left my previous job, and I'll tell you about it. So it's about me. So let's talk about me first of all before we go to the details, because my story is something which is very key to what we want to talk about. And that's why when William told me, give me a topic, I gave him this topic and I told him we need to talk about it. My name is Njoroge, I told you. I went to school in the University of Nairobi. I did finance, actually. I'm a finance graduate, and by the time I graduated, I'd finished my finance degree, then also I was a CPA. So my dad today, if he's to rise up from his slumber, he'll be very surprised that his son is a marketing director. And when I tell him I've been doing this for the last 13 years, he will actually maybe just say, let me go back. So that's number one. I graduated out of university plus Strathmore University with that. Then after that, I joined 2 banks. I've seen Equity on the table. I joined Equity and also Citibank. Then immediately after, went to PricewaterhouseCoopers, where I did 3.5 years in consulting. And then after that, that's when I joined the telecom world. And then my world just turned around. And I'll tell you, I was speaking to Baker here, and he knows my brother. All of us were accountants. And we all studied different things, but what we are doing today are totally different things. So I learned into Celtel. That time the company was called Celtel. And I learned in financial planning department, because anyway, I'm an accountant, I've been from PwC. So you joined the financial planning department. And by the way, I have somebody who can attest to that. I have Ibrahim was my colleague. Nowadays, I don't know where he is nowadays, but we work with him. So we worked with him at Airtel, at Celtel at the time. So I joined finance department. And the first task I was given, I was told by my boss at the time, he was called Charles Njoroge. He told me, Henry, your work is to deal with these marketers. The marketers were 2 floors above us. He says, I asked him why. These guys just come, they just ensure that you get their story into an Excel. So me, I'm good in modeling. I'm coming from consulting. So fine. I start. My job was 3 things. First of all, sitting with a product manager when he tells me what he wants to do, to put everything he's saying on paper in an Excel. So a guy comes and tells you, Henry, I want to reduce prices. Okay, we reduce prices. Why do you want to reduce prices? Oh, because we'll grow more customers. Okay, how many customers do you think you're going to grow? And I put that on an Excel. And I did that for 2 years. And then all of a sudden, things started changing. I found myself spending more time with the marketing team than the finance team. And then at that time, Baker and everyone who has been in marketing for a long time, they will know marketing a long time ago was just about what percentage of top line is my budget. That was actually the conversation. But now when the follow through, the ROI was not there. So things change, Zain comes. Celtel changed to Zain. I was still in finance. Then new managing director is appointed, Rene Meza, a brilliant guy. He actually threw me in deep end and told me, Henry, no, actually, then one day he called a meeting of marketers. Remember, I'm not a marketer, me, I'm in finance. Called a meeting of marketers and said, guys, can we go through the numbers? Can we go through, okay, how is the business going? Because he's just joined, maybe about a week or something. He wants to go through the numbers. But the person who used to do the numbers is myself. So they go through presentations, PowerPoints. Then he asks, okay, where is the tracker? So no one else seems to have but there's a guy in finance who does that for me. Who does that for us? The person who said that was Anothoro. And I said, there's a guy in finance who actually does this for me. And I was called. And of course, when I was called to a meeting, I carry my laptop. I go with my laptop. I'm an accountant. I'm an analyst. Not exactly an accountant, I'm an analyst. I go present the numbers for the business. And for the next 30 minutes, in that table there were like 15 people, but the conversation was between me and the CEO. He was asking, okay, well, how is this moving? New customers flowing in? Are we growing? Are we not growing? Because I have the numbers, I was able to explain. And then he asked me, what's your name? I told him my name is Njoroge. Oh, you report to Charles? I said, yes, I report to Charles. That was my head at the time. So he said, okay, thank you, done. So I thought that's finished. So I go back to my finance. I continue doing my things. Then a friend of mine called me. He's called Hashim Mukundi, bless his soul. He's a good gentleman. He's in DRC right now. He called me and told me, Henry, I've been given a task to come with a business case for a product called Zap, which is now called Airtel Money. So he tells me I have to do a business case, and that business case is required in 3 days' time. I tell him, Hashim, me, I'm in a training, and my training ends at 5. So he tells me, okay, now if it's 5, I'm coming. So it was in a Hotel Intercontinental. So he said, I'll be coming at 5. I was single at the time. We do whatever it is that we need to do. Then after that, we go to sleep. I said, no problem. He's my friend. We'll work together. Why not? So Hashim comes. We do a business case. We model the entire platform from investment all the way to the results. And of course, after that, I tell him, okay, now, I'll do you a small summary, like consultants do. They'll always give you a small one-pager. And last year, there was a big conversation. And there was a big conversation on one of the groups I follow. I'm not a books person, Stedman. I will read the book, I promise. I'm not a book person. I'll read the book. Every week, I'll be giving you an update of which page I am. So I'll be sharing that. But there's whatever I have here is based on articles by one of the groups called the CMO program by Deloitte. Deloitte does a very good program for CMO. It's actually research on anything about CMOs. And last year, this was actually the main topic about marketers being endangered. specifically CMOs. Let me just go to the details. So I hope this works. Okay. I'll go into the details. Apparently, this is supposed to be your lecture, so I'm your teacher today, I'm your professor. So I'd like you to take out your notebooks. And let's have a candid talk as CMOs. Chief Marketing Officer, you can call it Chief Marketing Officer, you can call it Head of Marketing, you can call it Marketing Director. Nowadays, even some roles have been taken from us, growth and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that is happening. Let's have a candid talk as marketers. And when I asked my minions, she told you that I have 3 boys. I have 3 boys. Firstborn is called the champion, secondborn is called the prince, and the lastborn is called the president. I told them, guys, can you go research and tell me what endangered means? So, of course, I launched 5G the other day, so they were able to use it and actually came with this. They actually did this slide. I didn't do this slide. I told them I want a cartoon, and then I want just the 3 definitions of endangered. And it's very simple. It is about something that may soon not exist. It is something in danger of getting lost. It is a species that is most likely. That's what it means. So I credit this to my 3 boys, and it is actually a perfect one. Then on top of that, they told me that they will also put a picture of an endangered species. So they put that. I changed it. They put a nicer one, so I decided to get a different one. And endangered, as it says, I think we have had that conversation. It's about if you don't do something, you're just going to disappear. And that's something I would like to say. So I like to actually quote my sources. It's always good to quote my sources. Professor Christine is actually the one who pioneered and the founder of the CMO program. It's actually a very good thing. If you like reading short articles, you can actually follow them, subscribe, and you can be able to. And every single year, actually 3 times a year, they do a survey about what are the emerging things on the CMOs, especially on marketing. And they do it with Deloitte as well. So Deloitte is actually heavily involved in this program. It's actually a very good program. And last year, they came to 2 conclusions. Number 1, and this is where we need to be, because I think all of us as CMOs or marketers, we like to grow up. We like to grow to the organization. Right now, and I think if there are CEOs in this place, there are fewer CEOs or people with a marketing background becoming CEOs. Go check it in your organization. All my bosses, engineer, statisticians, accountants, those are the guys who are becoming CEOs. CMOs right now. And by the way, they say the trend is likely to continue. Remember, may soon, likely, in danger. That is something we need to internalize as CMOs. Second thing, which is very important, the shortest tenure job on Exco, Michael can tell you, is a CMO job. According to their statistics, a CMO job lasts for 38 months. That's about 3.1 years. A CEO's average is 6 years. CFO's average is about 6.5. Supply chain, they are always there. They never leave. Yeah, look at that. But the shortest is a CMO. So not only don't you get to grow to become a CEO, you also have the shortest tenure. It's globally. These are research which is done across many FTAs, big corporations. And I would like you to just, I know these slides will be made available to anyone, I would like you to go and check out that research. They are very detailed and I like their research. And when you ask what's exactly happening, and this is where we just talk about numbers. That's why I betray my thing. Yes. I would like you to just maybe put your fork down and just listen for a minute. Number 1. Right now, what is the role of a CMO? Show of hands. Let's have that conversation. What's the role of a CMO? What is the job of a CMO? Somebody can shout? Sorry? Marketing strategy. That's one. That's what he says. Another one? I thought I have marketers here. Yes. Focused future business opportunity. One last one. One other attempt. Customer experience. There are many definitions about the role of CMO. But the CMO program just defined two things. Your work is to manage growth, and your work is to manage the brand. Two things. Everything you do is on those ones. Actually, there is even another research which says the second one is actually an input to the first one, which means your work is about growth. And when they interviewed CMOs, all of them agree the growth is a key KPI. 95% of them, unanimous decision. They know that. And 70% of them are confident that, growth comes through revenues. Yes, so 95, 75, 70%. But only 32% of them feel they can impact share. Okay, let's hear some more. And then 20% feel they are not, they are prepared to drive gross margin. You can search what gross margin is. We have Wi-Fi from Airtel, so you can do that. And then only 6% of the CMOs are actively growing revenue for all the global activities of the business. So, guys, so you know what you're supposed to do. Your confidence keep going down, but only 6% of them are actively being used for this. Because I think when this presentation was put up, it's actually almost a 15-page document. When that was put up, and there was a lot of conversation on that forum. So, and what was the conclusion is that CMOs, they're not comfortable assuming the role of being the growth driver in the organization. And that is their main role. So if your role is to grow business and you're not growing the business, then why the discomfort? And it's a big conversation we need to have, which is why I said we need to have a candid talk. And when we talk about them, let me even go further. CMOs also are suffering from a confidence crisis. This one was like, this can't be right. Who's the most confident ExCo member? Ask anyone. They'll say, marketing guy, because he's always there, he dresses well, he has good presentations, all that. But themselves, if you ask them, only a small percentage of them feel that they are ready to handle disruptions, things which are happening now. Disruptions, future problems, navigating ambiguity, which is exactly our business problems today. And on top of that, when you ask them, give yourself a self-assessment in terms of, are you a high performer or not? Only 5% says they are high performer. By comparison, the CEO said 58% of them are. Just for you to know. So basically, if I look at, so not only are you not driving the growth, but also your confidence levels is in we have some form of confidence crisis, which we need to have a conversation. And you ask them what are the major complaints, and this is now when you have a talk with the CMOs. They tell you, there's this 60-40 thing we have. 60% of my time is now spent on now, present, and 40% is about the future. And they would like to spend more. So CMOs are struggling with day-on-day traffic, week-on-week growth, month-on-month growth, quarter-on-quarter growth. It's a big struggle. And I'll give you a story. In Airtel, I had a head of East Africa called Mr. Giant Kosla. So I've just been appointed as a marketing director at the time. I remember when I was appointed, I asked my boss, why are you appointing me? I'm an accountant, I'm an analyst. He says, exactly, that's why we appointed you as a marketing director. So I told him, what about brand? He says, don't worry about brand. Dicomondi is going to handle that. So I was like, okay, what do you mean? Dicomondi is going to be handling this? He says, yes, he's going to handle all the brand. So I was like, I thought that's majority of it. He says, no, majority of the work is exactly what you've been doing in terms of planning, looking at analysis, then after that, deciding the direction forward. Then after that, that's when you bring the other guys. So I asked him, one time I was seated with Jan Kosla, I told him, in Airtel, we keep talking about day on day. Like if you ask my team, what revenue we made at 21, is it 21 hours yet? Oh yeah, it's 21 hours, that's 9 p.m. They'll tell you right now, there's an SMS which comes in. So they tell you, what if you talk, I asked him, what is all this about day on day, week on week? Shouldn't we be also looking at the future? And I asked him a genuine question. I'm a new appointed CMO. I'm 29 years old at the time in Kenya, fighting a giant, Safaricom. And I'm here with guys who have experience in running telecoms, or they told me they have experience in running telecoms. I said, hey, how do we gauge the two? The man just called me aside one time when he was smoking. Outside Airtel, there's a parking lot, even in Kenya. So when Airtel took over the business, if you have a friend who's Asian, after lunch, they always go for a walk. So they started going around the walk, so you could call it the Bombay walk. After lunch, you go for a Bombay walk. So when he was smoking, he said, let's take a walk. So he took a walk. He told me, Henry, our understanding of long term is that it's an accumulation of many short terms. So the day on day, the week on week, the month on month, the quarter on quarter is which translates to year on year growth, and eventually the long term you seems to have in mind. So if you don't take care of the present, even that long term is not going to come. So let's consider looking at the present first. Then after that we can talk about the future. That's exactly what he told me. A lot of CMOs are actually struggling with that right now. If you ask them, they'll tell you. Okay? Yes. And what are the struggles? I think let's talk about these struggles, because for the longest time, marketing was about all lovely, nice things versus substance. It's all about activation, that billboard, or those guys at the roundabouts, that campaign versus substance. I can tell you, Amy is here. He can tell you that one of the challenges he have is explaining the ROI of an investment like blankets and wine. You know, maybe he says sales are not enough, but you have spent a lot. He says sales does not cover everything, but the other side is a brand. The substance is becoming quite key in conversation. It's not about getting the best stall. It's not about getting the award. It's about what are you putting on the table. Second one is about uncertainty. And uncertainty is actually quite crazy for us. When I became the marketing director the first time in Kenya, I needed to brief 2 media houses. And I covered the entire country. 2 media houses. Last week, after our friend from Ipsos released a report, there was outcry about which is the biggest. Because now for you to brief, in radio stations, I think we almost have 5 per province. And then on top of that, in Kampala, there will be like 20. TV stations, every Tom, Dick, and Harry and a politician has a TV station. So you can imagine the fragmentation. Then on top of that, you get research. Ipsos tells you 30% of the population are the ones who consume TV. And then it tells you also there's another 40% which do not consume any media at all. And then you have, why are you worrying about audiences? And you already have the audiences. I asked them. First time we had that conversation with Jaime in Mozambique of Ipsos, he told me, the audience are actually on your phone. You can reach them. And that's exactly that's what we learned, that's what we started doing about 12 years ago. The best campaign I have ever launched, I did not even go to media. We just changed a menu. We just moved one item from number 5, when you dial *100# and made it the first one. Went like bonfire. Because every single day, that experience, that *100 has about 20 million exposures that particular day. So you can imagine now, so all of a sudden you realize, so I don't have to give televisions money. Yes. Because a long time ago, it used to be B2C, business talking to customers. Then social media came, customers started talking to business. Now, customers don't even talk to business. They talk among themselves. You are there. Businesses are here. They are talking among themselves. So we are trying to get into their conversation. That's exactly what's happening. Ask any marketing director here. He'll always be asking you, hey, what's trending? How can we just join in that thing? It's like having this neighbor who is always hearing some good music and bashes in your house, but he's never invited. That's where we are. Customers are having a conversation among themselves. You have to find your space there. Yeah? Then the other one is about, was actually brought very close home by the Philips marketing managing director. She actually said one of the things she struggles with her CMO is this speed versus quality dilemma, where you say, okay, I I want to get to maybe 100% for me to be able to launch. Sometimes you don't have to wait for you to be that quality. I think sometimes you need to actually go with good enough. You just be certified good enough, because good enough is motivation. It's actually step. What have we done? Even if you don't have 100% of the information, do we have 40? Yes. Must we wait for 60? It will take another 3 days. Why can't we do it now? 3 days we'll fix in flight. Especially for businesses like telecoms, where our product is conceived today, developed yesterday in the evening, and launched the following day, UCC regulatory approval in. That's 3 days program. That's what it means. Sometimes you need to move it good enough. Then the other one is about cost versus value driver. I was telling William that there have been two conversations about this. One by Polycarp Igathe in Kenya at the Marketers' Night. Second one by Patricia Ithau. And this is where Igathe was very categorical. He said, marketers, why have you allowed accountants to be CMOs? Why have you allowed, like for example, Emmy is an accountant. Emmy, where are you? Emmy is a marketing director for UBL, chief marketing officer. Ask him where he went, what did he do in high school? What did he do? Not high school, college, campus. Accounting. I am a CPA finance head. I'm an accountant. The guy who I replaced is an accountant, was an engineer. So if you look at the marketing department, you are made of statisticians, IT guys, everything. Actually, in my department, the guys who have done marketing are 3. Noella, Faith, and Sisi. The rest are statisticians, IT graduates, out of a group of almost 32. Everyone, there's an important course everyone has to do in Airtel, which is advanced Excel, because the first thing that lands on your table, the first thing in the morning is an Excel spreadsheet for you to be able to explain the numbers. That's on growth. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening to me in the midst of your meal and happiness provided by our friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you.